$71,718. Bitcoin just had its strongest day of 2026, up over 10% in 24 hours, and $1.9 billion in positions got vaporized on the way up. Almost all of it shorts. Cardano up nearly 12. Midnight, 10.5. Somebody lit a fire under this market. Today, I'll show you who struck the match, what the charts say next, and the one Cardano deadline on September 1st that nobody's talking about. I'm the Crypto Crow. Let's get into it. Quick snapshot before we go deep. Bitcoin, $71,718, up 10.4% on the day, back above 70K for the first time since June 2nd. Market cap, $1.44 trillion. Cardano, 19.5 cents, up 11.9%, one of the strongest movers in the top 20 today. Market cap's back near $7.3 billion. And Midnight, the Night token, just under 2 cents, up 10.5%. $328 million cap, ranked 121. Still a baby, still early. Total crypto market cap punched back above $2.32 trillion. And here's your mood check. The Fear and Greed Index went from 46, dead neutral, to 62, greed, in one day. That's the fastest sentiment flip we've seen all summer. When sentiment moves that fast, it's not organic. Something pushed it. Let's talk about what. So what actually happened? 2 words: Treasury buybacks. Yesterday, the U.S. Treasury said it's at least doubling its long-term bond buybacks, $2 billion to $4 billion per operation. The 30-year yield dropped from 5.34 to 5.18 almost instantly. And when long-end yields fall, liquidity loosens, the dollar softens, risk assets catch a bid, Bitcoin first. That's the match. Then came the gasoline, the squeeze. $1.9 billion liquidated in 24 hours. $1.74 billion of it was shorts. Traders were leaning bearish into this. They got caught. And forced buying from those liquidations shoved price through 69, then 70. Stack the SEC's new proposed crypto framework on top. Institutions get a clearer lane. And you've got a real fundamental move with rocket fuel strapped to it. Now, where's it go from here? My honest probability read. This is analysis, not advice. Nobody's got a crystal ball, including me. Scenario 1, continuation. Squeezes this size don't usually die in a day, and the macro catalyst is real. Treasury buybacks aren't a one-off, they're a policy shift. If Bitcoin holds 70K for a couple daily closes, the path to the June highs around 74 is open. I put that at 55%. Scenario 2, the retest. After a 10% vertical candle, funding gets hot. Late longs pile in. A pullback to retest 68-69, the breakout zone, is completely normal. Honestly, it's what I want to see. Call it 35%. Scenario 3, full rejection back under 67. That needs a macro reversal or the SEC deal souring. Maybe 10% this week. Here's why the Treasury thing matters more than a one-day pump, and most channels will skip this part. When Treasury buys back long-dated bonds, it soaks up duration risk. Dealers holding those bonds get cash. Balance sheets free up. That cash hunts for returns. It's not officially QE. Nobody at the Fed will say that word, but functionally, liquidity is liquidity. And Bitcoin's been the most liquidity-sensitive asset for 2 straight cycles. A 15 basis point drop in the 30-year in one day on a policy shift, that's not noise. That's regime information. And the tell for the next few days is funding rates. Before this move, funding was flat to negative. Market was leaning short. That's exactly why the squeeze hit so hard. If funding stays reasonable while price holds 70, that's spot demand, the healthy kind, the kind that trends. If funding spikes deep positive while price stalls, that's late longs chasing, and that's when you get the flush to 68. The squeeze already spent its fuel. Whatever happens now is real positioning. The level is 70K. Above it, bulls are driving. Lose 68? This was a squeeze, not a trend change. Simple as that. All right, Cardano, ADA is up almost 12% to 19.5 cents, riding the wave. But there are three stories here, and one of them has a clock on it. Story one, the big one. Cardano has a governance problem, and the deadline is September 1st. The vote to renew the Constitutional Committee is sitting at 32.5% DREP approval. It needs 67. If it fails, the committee drops below minimum size and governance freezes. No parameter changes, no Treasury withdrawals until it's fixed. Now, the chain keeps running, blocks keep coming. Your ADA is fine. But for a chain whose whole identity is on-chain governance, governance seizing up would be a black eye at the worst possible time. If you're a DREP or you've delegated to one, this is the week. That's 12 days away. Quick 60-second explainer for anyone new here, because this stuff matters for your bags. Cardano runs on-chain governance. DREPs, delegated representatives, vote with the ADA power you delegate to them. A constitutional committee checks that actions follow the Constitution. Committee seats have terms. Terms expire. Renewal needs a 2/3 supermajority. And here's the thing, 32% isn't a no vote. It's mostly DREPs just not voting, which is somehow worse. The whole pitch of decentralized governance is that people show up. 12 days to find out if they do. Story 2. The Dijkstra upgrade roadmap is official. 2-phase hard fork, Leios and Peras. Phase 1, late 2026. Phase 2, mid-2027. Leios is the big one. Parallel block production instead of one block at a time. Peras cuts settlement from minutes to seconds. This is the scaling roadmap Cardano's needed for years, finally with dates on it. Story 3. The community approved $120 million in ADA from the Treasury for ecosystem liquidity. Love it or hate it, that's real capital going to work. My read on ADA, it's a high beta Bitcoin play right now. BTC continues. ADA tests the 20-cent zone where it topped in late July. 60% it tags 20 cents this week if Bitcoin holds 70. But September 1st is a real overhang. Resolution either way removes uncertainty. Failure probably caps the upside. Now midnight. And you know I've got bags here. Full transparency, weight my bias accordingly. Night's up 10.5% to just under 2 cents. But price isn't the story this week. The network is. Midnight's mainnet, live since March 31st, just crossed 127,000 transactions. And look who's running validators. Google Cloud, eToro. MoneyGram's operating a federated validator node. Think about that. A legacy payments giant running infrastructure for a privacy chain. August 7th, they announced Lumira Protocol, permanent private data storage. That's the rational privacy thesis doing real work, selective disclosure. Keep the data confidential and prove compliance. That's the wedge into institutions that pure privacy chains never had. Hoskinson confirmed it's in beta, still early, still federated. Decentralization comes later on the roadmap. Quick refresher on why the design's different for anyone just tuning in. Midnight isn't a hide-everything chain. It's selective disclosure. Zero-knowledge proofs let a business prove something's true. This customer's over 18, this transaction passed compliance, without exposing the data. That's why the validator list looks like a Fortune 500 conference and not a cypherpunk meetup. And the two-token design matters. Night is what you hold. It generates dust, the shielded resource you actually spend. So the cost of using the network isn't chained to Night's price swings. Businesses can budget. Try explaining gas fee volatility to a CFO. You'll understand why that design exists. One caution flag. Knight's RSI hit 83 last week. Deeply overbought. Still digesting. A thin $328 million cap that's already run hot can retrace 20% without breaking a sweat. If you believe the thesis, volatility's the price of admission. The metric I'm watching isn't price. It's transactions and validators. Adoption first. Price follows. Time for the crow's nest, where we laugh so we don't cry. Today's award goes to the $1.74 billion in shorts that got absolutely obliterated in 24 hours. Somewhere out there, a trader opened a 50x short at 65K because a line on a chart told him to. He's now explaining to his wife why the vacation fund is temporarily illiquid. Folks, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. The bears learned it yesterday. The bulls will learn it eventually. The only ones who never learn? The ones using leverage they can't afford. Pour one out for the liquidated. May their next entry be less confident. And hey, fear and greed going 46 to 62 in a day means half of crypto Twitter went from "it's over" to "we're so back" in one candle. Never change, you beautiful degenerates. Let's land this plane. Bitcoin, 71 to 7. The level is 70K. Hold it, and continuation's my base case at 55%. A retest of 68 is healthy, not scary. Cardano, 19.5 cents. 20 in the crosshairs. But circle September 1st. That vote matters. Midnight. Ignore the 2-cent price tag. Watch the adoption. 127,000 transactions and MoneyGram running a validator. That's the signal. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm a guy with a microphone and strong opinions. Do your own research. Size your positions like an adult. Never trade money you can't lose. If you got value out of this, the like button's free and the algorithm loves you for it. Subscribe, ring the bell. We do this every single day at 9 a.m. Eastern, so you start your morning knowing exactly what's moving and why. Drop a comment, team continuation or team retest. I read them all. This is the Crypto Crow. Fly safe. See you tomorrow at 9.